Have you ever wondered how global trade could drastically change in the coming years? Or how new trade routes and alliances might shake up the economic balance between major global powers? Today, we're diving into a monumental shift that could redefine the future of commerce. Europe and China are forming a groundbreaking alliance that could leave the United States scrambling to keep up. At the heart of this transformation is a new trade route, the Middle Corridor, a route connecting China to Europe via Central Asia and Turkey. So, what does this mean for the global economy, and why is this so important? Let's break down the EOI. 7 key shifts driving these changes in the world's economic landscape. 7. The game-changing Middle Corridor. The Middle Corridor, also known as the Trans-Caspian International Transport Route, is revolutionizing trade between China and Europe. Stretching across Kazakhstan, the Caspian Sea, Azerbaijan, Georgia, and Turkey, this new overland route bypasses traditional maritime paths like the Suez Canal. Why is this important? Well, by cutting transit times from weeks to just days, the Middle Corridor is rapidly becoming a vital solution for industries that depend on speed and reliability, such as electronics and automotive. This trade route is a major component of China's Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, benefiting from substantial infrastructure investments. These investments include the development of rail networks, ports, and logistical hubs that help Europe diversify its supply chains and reduce risks associated with congested maritime routes. The route avoids regions that are prone to piracy and instability, offering Europe a strategic advantage. As the Middle Corridor continues to grow, plans are already in place to double freight volumes by 2025. With such a transformative impact on global trade, it's clear the Middle Corridor is poised to redefine the landscape of commerce. 6. Europe's strategic realignment. European nations are recalibrating their trade strategies to align with the Middle Corridor. Countries like Hungary, Poland, and Romania are making significant investments in rail networks and logistics hubs to strengthen their connections with Asia. This shift is a calculated move to reduce Europe's dependence on maritime routes that are dominated by global shipping giants. The European Union's involvement in the Belt and Road Initiative signals a growing commitment to closer ties with China, with countries such as Italy and Greece upgrading their ports and infrastructure as part of these projects. This new partnership allows Europe to tap into Asia's rapidly growing markets while addressing vulnerabilities in global supply chains, especially amid ongoing geopolitical uncertainty. The Middle Corridor is quickly proving to be Europe's competitive edge in navigating the shifting dynamics of global trade, marking a new chapter in how European nations approach international commerce. 5. The declining influence of U.S. trade dominance. For decades, the United States has been the dominant force in global trade, controlling key maritime routes such as the Suez and Panama Canals. However, the rise of overland alternatives like the Middle Corridor is diminishing U.S. influence. These new trade routes bypass the U.S. and its controlled choke points, fundamentally altering the flow of goods and the structure of global supply. Chains. While the U.S. has launched initiatives like the Blue Dot Network to counter China's Belt and Road Initiative, it has struggled to match the scale of China's investments. NATO allies in Europe are increasingly prioritizing the Middle Corridor for its economic benefits, often sidelining political considerations. This shift signals a decline in U.S. dominance in international trade and presents significant challenges to its broader geopolitical strategy. It's clear that the U.S. will have to reconsider its approach to global trade if it hopes to remain competitive in an ever-evolving economic landscape. 4. The Middle East's role as a trade nexus. The Middle East is quickly emerging as a crucial hub in the Middle Corridor, transforming global trade routes. Turkey's strategic location between Europe and Asia, coupled with its substantial investments in modern railways and expanded ports, has turned it into a key transit hub. Iraq is also enhancing its role with a $17 billion infrastructure initiative aimed at connecting its ports to Europe via rail and road networks, offering a faster and more affordable alternative to the Suez Canal. Despite ongoing geopolitical challenges, Iran is contributing to this growth by increasing connectivity in the region. These developments are reshaping the region's economic dynamics, strengthening its integration into global trade systems. As the Middle East becomes an essential link in the Middle Corridor, it challenges the dominance of traditional maritime routes and positions itself as a critical player in the future of global commerce. The region's growing influence marks a significant shift in global trade patterns and geopolitical alignments. 3. China's expanding influence through the Belt and Road Initiative. The Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, has rapidly emerged as one of the most influential geopolitical and economic projects of the 21st century. Since its inception in 2013, China's ambitious initiative has been reshaping the global trade landscape by funding infrastructure projects worldwide. The BRI has already supported over 3,000 infrastructure projects in more than 60 countries, creating an interconnected network of trade routes spanning Asia, Europe, and Africa. At the core of the BRI's success is the Middle Corridor, which links China to key markets in Europe and the Middle East. This strategic trade route is a prime example of how targeted investments in infrastructure can revolutionize global commerce. By enhancing transportation networks, rail systems, ports, and roadways, the Middle Corridor has significantly reduced transportation costs and time, thereby boosting trade efficiency. European nations, including Greece and Italy, have been quick to embrace BRI projects, upgrading their infrastructure and streamlining trade. For China, these partnerships aren't just about economic growth. They are about reducing dependence on U.S.-controlled maritime trade routes. As tensions between the U.S. and China rise, the Middle Corridor and the BRI are becoming increasingly important for securing China's global trade interests. However, the BRI has faced criticism, with detractors arguing that it creates a cycle of debt dependency for participating countries. Critics claim that the enormous loans required to fund these projects could leave countries vulnerable to Chinese political influence. Despite these concerns, there's no denying the BRI's impact on reshaping the global trade landscape. The economic and political ripple effects of the Middle Corridor. The implications of the Middle Corridor extend far beyond just the movement of goods. Economically, it is already having a profound impact on how goods are transported between continents. By drastically cutting trade costs, improving efficiency, and reinforcing the resilience of supply chains, the Middle Corridor is playing a central role in ensuring that global supply chains can withstand shocks and disruptions, something that has become even more critical in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic and escalating geopolitical tensions. Politically, the U.S. is closely monitoring the growing partnership between China and Europe as Chinese infrastructure projects continue to multiply across European soil. The U.S. sees this collaboration as a direct challenge to its influence on the global stage. As Europe increasingly prioritizes economic growth and trade partnerships over its traditional geopolitical alignment with Washington, this shift has led to a realignment of political priorities. Many European nations are now placing greater emphasis on economic interests and trade relationships, signaling a significant shift in global alliances. Central Asian countries, too, are capitalizing on the Middle Corridor's expansion. Nations like Kazakhstan and Iran, strategically positioned along this route, are attracting investment and strengthening their trade networks. This regional empowerment is contributing to a more multipolar global order, one that dilutes the dominance of Western powers and gives rise to new centers of economic and political influence. The growing significance of the Middle Corridor is reshaping not only trade patterns, but also the geopolitical balance of power across the world. 1. The future of global trade, a new era. The Middle Corridor is far more than just a trade route. It symbolizes a fundamental shift in how global trade is organized. The old system, dominated by maritime trade routes controlled by Western powers, is being challenged by this new and diversified network. Through the Middle Corridor, China and Europe are not just expanding their trade options, they are reshaping the very fabric of global commerce. By reducing dependence on traditional maritime trade routes, they are creating an interconnected, land-based network that increases trade efficiency and reduces geopolitical vulnerabilities. For the United States, this emerging reality presents both challenges and opportunities. The Middle Corridor directly challenges U.S. economic and geopolitical hegemony, prompting a reassessment of U.S. global trade strategies to stay competitive. If the U.S. is to remain a dominant player in global trade, it will need to invest in its own infrastructure, forge innovative international partnerships, and address the vulnerabilities exposed by disruptions in global supply chains. As Europe and China continue to deepen their economic ties,